A function definition. So our objective for this video, we want to define a function and we want to use function notation to evaluate a function. Well, first off, what's a function? A function is a relation in which each component of the domain is the set of all x values or all input values, corresponds to exactly one component of the range. And the range is the set of all y values or output values. In other words, a function relates an input or an x value to an output, a y value, by a rule. Okay, let's see if we can't simplify that a little bit. Functions have names like f or g. Most common, of course, is f. G is probably the second most common. And function notation, which is f of x equals or g of x equals, can be used to more concisely ask y equals notation questions. So, for example, in the y notation, we would say here is an equation, y equals x squared plus 2. And if we want to know what is y when x is 3, we have to ask the question, what is the y value when x is equal to 3? Okay, and we would put 3 in for x, we would square it, get 9, add 2, and the y value is 11. The same equation in function notation would be f of x is equal to x squared plus 2. So this is the y notation, this is the function notation. And the same question, what is the y value when x equals to 3, can be asked much more concisely. What is f of 3? What is the function's value when x is equal to 3? It's a much simpler and quicker way to ask the question. Okay, so when you see an equation written in function notation, which is this notation right here, it's easy to identify the input variable. On a graph, we're talking about the x values. There's the input variable. The output variable on the graph, we're talking about the y values. This is the output variable. And what needs to be done, what the rule is, to evaluate the function, we need to do this. Okay, so let's take that and let's write that down here. The function notation, f of x is equal to x squared plus 2. Well, what's the input value? The input value is what is in the parentheses in the function notation. What's in between those parentheses is the input value. What's the output value? F of x is the output value. And what is the rule? The rule is I square the input value and then I add 2. So this is the rule, also called the relationship between the two. Okay, so there it is. That's your function notation. So let's take a look now at evaluating a function using function notation. Slide my paper up here for you. Okay, I'll keep that little input-output diagram right up here in view. So the function is f of x is equal to x squared plus 3x plus 5. We're going to evaluate 3 different possibilities. The first one is, what is f of 2? What this tells us is when x equals 2, because that's the input value, all right, this is the input value. Whoops, the input value. Okay, what is the output value? Or if you will, what is the y value? When I put 2 into the function, whoops, this is a question, I gotta put a question mark there. When I put 2 into the function, what comes out. Okay, so my function again is f of x is equal to x squared plus 3x plus 5. It might help you to replace the x with input. F of the input, and I'll use parentheses. We're going to take the input, we're going to square it. We're going to multiply the input by 3 and add it, and then we're going to add 5. That's what's happening in the function. The input value is a 2, and you replace the x, every x you see, you replace with a 2. Okay, so what is f of 2? The input is 2. So we'll put 2 in for the input here. We'll put 2 in for the input here. And then we will evaluate this. We'll use our calculator, and we'll come up with f of 2 is equal to 15. So when the input value is 2, the output value is 15. Okay, this is the input value. And this is the output value. In x and y terms, this is the x, and this is the y for a point on your graph. Okay, let's do a couple more examples using letters as opposed to, or expressions as opposed to just numbers. I'll stress the importance of replacing your input value with parentheses. Let's remind ourselves, let me get to the top of the page here, that our function is f of x is equal to x squared plus 3x plus 5, okay? So what is the output value if the input value is negative x? Well, our function says f of the input value equals the input value, whatever it is, squared, plus 3 times the input, whatever you want to put in here, plus 5. Well, I want to put in negative x. My input value is negative x. Okay, so what is f of negative x? Again, I would make use of parentheses. Okay, this is going to be negative x squared plus 3 times negative x, or opposite of x, plus 5. Okay, what is that? What is the output value? Well, negative x squared is positive x squared, a negative times a negative. 3 times negative x is minus 3x, and then I have 5. So this is the input. I input negative x, and I outputted positive x squared minus 3x plus 5. Okay. My strong recommendation, use parentheses. Particularly with negatives. People lose negatives, so use parentheses so you don't lose track of your negatives. That's very important. Let's do one more. This time we're going to input an algebraic expression. We're going to input x plus 3. Okay, so what do we know? Our function says f of the input is equal to the input squared plus 3 times the input plus 5. Okay, make my plus a little more solid there. Okay, my input is going to be x plus 3. So f of x plus 3. Input, I'm going to take x plus 3 and I'm going to square it. I'm then going to add 3 times x plus 3, and then I'm going to add 5. Okay, well, before I do any math to this part, I'm first going to expand this. X plus 3 squared, of course, is x plus 3 times x plus 3. I can go ahead and multiply and distribute this while I'm going. So this is plus 3x plus 9, and then plus 5. Okay, I can multiply these two binomials. X plus 3 times x plus 3 is x squared plus 6x plus 9. And then I'm going to add plus 3x. I can go ahead and add together 9 and 5, and I have 14. And now let's clean it all up because I have a couple of x terms here and a couple of constant terms here. And so when the input is x plus 3, the output is x squared plus 9x plus 23. Okay, so that's functions and how to evaluate a function for numbers, letters, and expressions.